Welcome back. Now, a deceased estate takes roughly a year to wind up, but in some instances, it could take a number of years before assets are transferred to an heir. This process has financial consequences. Wealth could dwindle faster than anticipated. Zola Cossie, head of fiduciary at Standard Bank Wealth and Investment, joins us for more insight around the winding up a deceased estate and avoiding the asset-rich cash-poor scenario. Zola, thanks so much for your time this afternoon. I guess let's start there. Why is it in some instances that it takes quite some time to wind up the estate?
Thank you so much for having me. I think there can be so many reasons, but the biggest reason that we find is the lack of planning. So as you've alluded to, that a lot of estates are asset-heavy, cash-poor, and the question really is around, or the impediment is around transferring assets to heirs, that there are various taxes that need to be payable, as the liquidity is required to do so. And what do you sell? What do you not sell? Sometimes heirs want to hold on to, for instance, a property, but they don't necessarily have the cash in order to pay into the estate. So that is really one of the biggest challenges that we find in winding up estates and the delay in doing so.
And what are the possible solutions here? We talk about money when it comes to transferring the assets to the heirs. What could be done to make the process easier?
One is recording your intentions. You know, knowing exactly what your intentions are, ensuring that your intentions are practical. And I think thirdly for me, which is really invaluable, is to sit down with your balance sheet, to place down your assets, your liabilities, and see whether there'd be a cash shortfall or whether there'd be a surplus. And if there's a shortfall, there are various financial instruments, chatting to your wealth manager, your financial advisor, that you can work through in order to ensure that you don't have this issue.
And you talk about, writing down your intentions and having everything clear. Talk to me about the role, I guess, a will then plays, and also trusts play in this process.
So from a will perspective, I always say to clients is that people will say, I don't want to execute a will. And I say that, that is an election that you've made. So what a will does is that it records your intentions ultimately. In South Africa, we've got the freedom of testation that is limited in relation to certain duties that you have. So you have a reciprocal duty of support towards your spouse, as well as to minor children or to children who are incapacitated. So to that end is that you need to ensure that by recording who your assets go to, but not only that, but for minor children, you set out who the guardians would be. Minor children cannot inherit in their personal capacity in South Africa, and those assets need to be administered for and on their behalf. And in doing so, that's where trusts come into play. Where you either set up a trust in your will, or you've set up one during your lifetime, and the assets are transferred therein, and they are administered for and on behalf of minor children, or even people who are somehow incapacitated.
And from the work that you've been doing, are consumers engaging with these elements, with what the tools that they have that they can use?
I really think that in some instances, people don't know where to go.
Yeah.
It really is a question around you chatting to your lawyer, chatting to approaching a bank, and actually setting out whether, as I said, your intentions are practical. I think it really is invaluable in being able to draft a will. And people will say, I don't have any assets. And I'm like, yes, but you might have children. Or you might be taking care of a mother or someone that you call a cousin, brother, which is not necessarily recognized in law, but you want them to inherit from you. So that it actually ensures that your intentions are met, and there's clarity in relation to your intentions as well.
And before I let you go, talk to me about the importance about ensuring all that you've mentioned, right, is done and followed through, especially when it comes to wealth being transferred and the creation of wealth when it comes to the wealth being transferred to the heir.
So really, for us, it's about planning. That's what it boils down to. And the analogy I always use is that if you think about a puzzle, if you buy a puzzle in a shop, the front picture really is your intentions. And inside, we look at the various elements of your estate plan. Think about your family structure. How are you married? Is it in or out of community or property? If it's in, you can only bequeath half the value of the net of your estate and not the whole. Are you involved in a business with someone? If something was to happen to either you or your partner, what happens to the other person's interest? Is there a buy and sell agreement in place? What assets do you have? What are the asset classes? Where are they situated? Do you have trusts? Are you the founder, the funder? Is it in South Africa or is it offshore? Who do you want to inherit from you? In relation to your heirs, what jurisdictions are they in, and what are the tax consequences in relation to those jurisdictions? Do you have a will? Your retirement annuities and your pension funds, are those beneficiary nominations up to date? So what we really do is to ensure that all those elements fit in together quite nicely. And it's not a one-size-fits-all approach, and it's not all-encompassing at the same time. So really, it is a journey, and it's something that you need to commit to. And knowing that it's something that you need to review all the time.
All right, Zola, thanks so much for your time and sharing those insights. That was Zola Cossie, Head of Fiduciary at Standard Bank Wealth and Investment.